So we're continuing to discuss the Peasach seder, this wonderful meal that we make at least twice a year out of Israel, once a year at least in Israel. And we're going to learn a little bit more about what exactly brings us to this special seder. Seder means order. What's this order about? The deeper works say the seder is about ordering your life around, like getting order, finding order in your life. So let's try to, seeing that miracles is the real order of the day, that actually miracles are what really is going on. You just don't always see them. But what's really happening, what's ascending every single person is miracles. We were saying the last time we spoke is that we all became like a little kid who doesn't have a real understanding of what's good and what's bad. And if he's going to do, I don't know, if you ever met a high school aged kid, unless he's very unusual, usually his definite and clear and indisputable in his own mind opinion is that I do not require school. I do not require schooling. I just need to do what I feel like doing. That's it. And I know this without the shadow of a doubt. There is no question in my mind that I don't need any, what's the old song? We don't need no education or whatever. We don't why are you forcing me into this very unenviable position where someone's telling me what to do and telling me when to do it and how to do it? Like, just get off my back. Let me, one kid's going to want to go after his whatever, who knows what he's looking for. Another kid's going to want to sit around. Every kid has their nature. I just want to do what's natural to me and leave me alone. That's basically where every child holds. And, if we gave a child their own decisions and they had no society over them, that is what they would do. They would do enough to survive. If they didn't have to survive, they had food, they had everything they need, shelter and everything they needed. They would just do nothing, or they do whatever they want to do. Go wandering, go whatever, anything fun. Now we all know that is a recipe for a terrible disaster. The child will be unruly. This young man's going to be impossible to talk to. He's not going to see the world in anyone else's way of seeing things except his own very limited perception. Very, very limited perception. So here we are. We're like that. We don't understand. The person doesn't say, like, I don't know spirituality. What is spirituality? Like, there's part of it like, what does it mean? What is it all about? But we're all made up. We're sort of like a marriage. Every person's a marriage. We have this very spiritual part of us that's uninterested in anything but helping people and doing good things and connecting to higher things. And we have a part of us that just wants, nothing. And, we'd never make a shidduch like that. Like, you'd never match those two people up yourself. There's no evolutionary reason why we have that. Like, why should we have a higher self? What does that help you? It doesn't help you at all. You can't find a beast like that. Like, that part of us is something spiritual. It doesn't really belong in this world. And this combination, this harmonizing that God did, is an incredible thing. And nevertheless, we get very confused. We have this very strong animal soul that sort of gets in the way. Person he can't get it together. It's hard for him to do even what he needs to do. He's just, do it, or we'll do it tomorrow, the next day, whatever. Everything, it can be very difficult for him to deal with his challenges. Like we said, the character defects, they really run the show. It's very hard to overcome them. It's very hard to get around them even, to neutralize them and to learn how to deal with them. It's not so simple. So that's every person. That's all of us. And we all know you cannot determine, I remember there was this rabbi, I think his name is Rabbi Israel, is his name. He's from the Israelite program, I think that's his name.
Rabbi David Aaron.
Rabbi David Aaron, thank you. Rabbi David Aaron, he said I think he was talking to Kirk Douglas, a famous actor, and the guy said, I don't know, Rabbi, spirituality, I was 15, 16, like, come on, I don't need no spirituality, like, no thank you. I figured it out already, I don't know, the whole thing makes no sense. So he said, let me ask you an honest question. He said, when you were 15, 16, your ideas of relations with women and marriage and commitment, did you think that you stand with all of your impulses of then and your beliefs then? He's like, no, I was so mature, like, forget it. No, definitely not. I had this one-track mind of whatever I wanted, and like, I didn't care about any commitment or anything. And later you realize that that's very empty, and that's not fulfilling, and that's not real, it's not genuine, and hurts people, hurts yourself, hurts them. Like, there's just no, that's nothing. So he said, so tell me, what makes you think that your impressions of religion are in any way appropriate to where you are now? You're a mature man. Who said that those were any better, any more on the money than your idiot ideas about relationships? He said, that's a good point. I don't know. That's a really good point. I don't know. So that really every person, we have this confusion in us. We have this part of us like, oh, I know better and I figured out, but I'm just like this little kid. This little young man who needs help. He needs to listen. He needs to believe his father. He needs to trust his father and say, you know better. I know better. You have to believe me. Why? Society knows better. Kids, you know what happens to a child who is 16 who doesn't go to school? He's a truant. Well, why is he a truant? You know why he's a truant? I'll tell you why. Because it's terrible for a child to just go around. He becomes a savage. He needs some kind of structure, or else who knows what's going to happen with him. That's the way it goes. You want to leave, you don't like where you are, no problem. Find another place and we can go there. Maybe we'll try to do that. You can't just disappear and say, I'm on vacation. I'm a pensioner. You're not a pensioner. You didn't work your life. That's just not what you're holding. Like, people don't realize this. They don't understand that. That's for their best. That's what they need. It's the same thing in spiritual matters. A person, you have to know it's important in order to make it a priority and make it happen. You have to know that it's important for me to love God. It's important for me to realize that what I do matters. That God, He's there with me, and what I do makes a difference. We call it fear is a terrible word for yira. Yira is the same letters as re'iyah, which means to God looking at me and watching over me also, and that what I do counts and matters. Fear is like this completely. It's like, I don't know. I can't think of a better, like a more useless word, except that we don't really have a great word in English. They use awe, also not terribly apropos, but whatever it is, we have to understand that these things are important and prioritize them until you start. Eventually, you figure out, so, no, this was great. Thank God, I have a feeling in spirituality. I'm connected. I understand. That's what it's about. So we're missing very much. What happens to a person is he gets all blown up. His knowledge, his understanding, also terrible, how do you translate that? It means connection. It says Adam knew his wife. It meant they were together and they were able to conceive a child. It means a connection on a very deep level, the whole self to God. That's what we're talking about here. There's a connection. It doesn't mean just a physical connection. It means a deep connection in a deep way. And this das is, we tend to blow it all up into who knows what. And that is what's behind, one of the things that's behind, not eating leaven on Pesach. Pesach is like an inoculation for the whole year. Overcoming a person's evil inclination. And enabling us to overcome the evil inclination. So the first thing is anything's blown up, your fruit's blown up. No, we don't blow things up. You gotta manage it. It needs to be hit with a fire. It needs to be worked out. It needs to be simple. Then we can have it on Pesach. If not, we can't have it on Pesach. It is something that's blown up. It is not proportionate because God made us straight, like the verse said. And we started looking for all of these calculations that really, really ruin our lives and ruin maybe even the lives of the people around us because we're not being honest. We're not being clear. We're not being connected like we should be. And that's what happens. Very often a person later figures out. He says, boy, I was immature, I was this, this was wrong, and that was wrong. And he just, at the time, doesn't see it at all, doesn't see anything. He doesn't understand. And he can do things that are just totally out of bounds, and he cannot grasp even that, what did I do wrong? Like, what's wrong? I did nothing wrong. Like, person, he doesn't get it at all. He's completely, again, he has no proportion, no understanding. He needs to figure this out. This is part of how to give someone over. This understanding is not a simple thing. It's a big work. It's a very big bit of work, and we have to really, really exert ourselves. And that's part of why Passover is so special. It's a special holiday, not just tonight for the seder, but all 8 days, avoiding any leaven at all times, eating matzah, and trying to wake up and be aware spiritually. There were even great people who tried not to sleep on Passover. No sleep, as little as possible, because every second, every instant is like $1 million. When you give up $1 million, this is where we deal with the Yetzer Hara. This is where we deal with the evil inclination, with the negative character traits. We're able to get divine influx from on high to get a real understanding. We're able to see what's going on. If we know that when I act out, when I have a temper tantrum and break things, right? What I'm doing is poisoning myself, poisoning the atmosphere for everyone else. If I realize I'm taking poison, okay, if someone I really know there's poison, I'm not going to take poison. I know not to take poison. I'm not going to put my hand in the fire. I'm not going to jump off a tall building. You're not Superman. You might think you are. Well, let's hope you can get over it. But don't jump off the building. Don't actually jump off the building. You're going to be in big trouble. So Hashem should help us. We should really understand. God should help us really understand and get this place of the simple, the matzah, the simple. Not to be all blown up, just to stay simple. Something again, you have to work it. You have to work on it. We need a lot of divine assistance. And the best way to leave our own spiritual Egypt is seder and avoiding leaven and eating matzah, that's the way you're able for the whole year to have a deep transformation and become a totally different person. That's another one. So, Baruch Hashem, we did two. I have two more, but I guess the two more will have to wait for another opportunity. Are you able to do Motzei Shabbos?
Yes.
What time?
So
Motzei Shabbos is easier. I just would like at least a half hour if possible.
Safe to me from 9, but often like staying Shabbos.